Time to shoot the rock. This is the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN 102.7 FM, AM 1450, AM 1230, and streaming live on ESPNKY.com. Your weekly double-barrel dose of the biggest names, best products, and most intriguing topics in the world of firearms. Brought to you by Hilux Optics, Swagger by Pods, Shoot with Confidence, J&K Used Cars on the Bypass, and Mohawk Outdoors. In pursuit of liberty, justice, and all things guns. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble.
Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show, ESPN Radio 102.7, Bowling Green, Kentucky, ESPN Radio 102.7.com, 104 The Score, the new Glasgow station. Rocking it out, and don't forget about our iTunes podcast. You can download it, go listen every week.
And don't forget about the 106.1 up in E-Town. Listen at 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings. A little bit delayed, but they get to hear the show every week. Each and every week, all of our great folks. We're getting a lot of folks from the whole Fort Knox area coming down and enjoying the rock. You know?
Most of those people listening Saturday morning in E-Town are going to have to go get the podcast because they're going to be deer hunting on Saturday morning in Kentucky. So
absolutely, it's getting ready to open up. Matter of fact, we've got a bunch of deer hunters up at the Rock this weekend, and got some big deer that are starting to run around and chase. It's always great to the show before us is Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors, and it's always great to hear their tips and always learn a little bit about deer hunting. But we're definitely going to get into that a little bit this weekend, and have had some fun this week with some archery, and it's real good stuff. So. It's going to be good, and we got a lot of things going on. We got the big USPSA match this weekend, our local club match, but we're getting set up for everything, and things are going well there. So normally we shoot the second or the fourth Saturday of every month, but we're actually going to have two because we got rained out last month, and so we're going to have one this weekend and again on the fourth Saturday. So we'll actually have two USPSA matches coming up. So
it's a good match too. A lot of movement, a lot of targets. It's going to be a fun match. We set it up today and spent the afternoon glassing some deer out in Thunder Valley for our hunters and just kind of checking it out. It's fall in Kentucky, and what a beautiful time at Rockcastle Shooting Center. We got a big packed show tonight. We're going to start with a little bit of long-range action and a new champion in that arena. And then we're going to move into our good friend Frank DeSoma from POF, Patriot Ordnance Factory, down in Arizona, and he's going to chime in. Frank's always an entertaining guy. And after that, we're going to go to a good friend of ours. He's an outdoor rider, gun rider, an adventurer, and professional shooter, and he goes all over the world shooting stuff. And he's going to tell us about a bunch of guns and stuff he's got going on. And we got a packed show. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and for all you deer hunters out there, getting back to that, we have the perfect place to sight in your deer rifles. Exit 48 I-65, get up there and come check it out. We got a ton of people coming in, and we've got the Red Barn ranges from 0 to 750 yards, and then of course Thunder Valley you can go out to 1,200. I don't think too many Kentucky deer hunters are going to ever need to take anything more than a 200 or 300 yard shot. But the guy that's coming on our guest here,
he would do that.
He would do that. He may take a 1,200.
And just a reminder, the Red Barn range goes out to 750, and it is covered. And it's going to be raining all day tomorrow. Perfect day to come sight in a deer rifle and get it zoned in. But without further ado, we're going to go. There was a little match that happened just this past weekend. One of the coolest new matches on the planet. I mean, good friend of ours, Tom Fuller, the owner, founder of Armageddon Gear, put on a special match, kind of an invitation only. And we got the champ. Jake Vibert is with us on the radio right now. What up, dude?
What's going on, dude?
Congratulations. What a win.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? It was a good match. It was AG Cup. Tom Fuller was kind of, the brainchild behind it. And I tell you what a fun event. Had all the film crews out there from Shooting USA and John Scouten. And it was a pretty hyped up thing, and it really, it kind of held up to its reputation.
Well, we've hosted a lot of PRS matches at Rockcastle, and we're kind of familiar with that crowd and everything else. This match was really cool in a lot of different ways, on a lot of different levels, because Tom Fuller and his brainchild, I mean, not only it was invitation only, so you literally had to be invited. You couldn't just sign up and pay the match fee. You had to be invited. But also there was a ton of cash up for grabs, and there was a ton of cash that you walked away with a bunch of. So what was the difference in this match maybe than some of the, you're obviously a top competitor in precision rifle. What was maybe was there a little bit more pressure in this one, or was it just kind of more of the same?
I like the pressure. I like the big matches. It seems to kind of bring the best out in people, and this match was different. So this was actually a $1,000 buy-in. So it was probably the most expensive buy-in match that anyone's been to. But then they basically gave all that away, and it was basically a winner-take-all format where they had $41,000 up for grabs, but 20 of it went to the winners. Each individual stage. So there was 20 stages, $1,000 a stage. So you could have a little bit of you can kind of figure out where you want to go in the match. If you feel that you have a chance to be the best shooter, the most consistent shooter, you can try to go after that $20,000 prize for first place. Second place paid $0. So it was all or nothing really. And then every stage had a $1,000 purse to it as well. So if you had the best score with the best time, you actually were able to get $1,000 for that stage. And so I was able to win, obviously, the overall, Armageddon Gear Cup champion, but then I also won one stage. So it was a fruitful weekend.
So how many stages were there, Jake?
There was 20 stages.
20 stages. So think about this, everybody listening, because this is a big deal. You won top overall, but you only won one stage. And so you got a lot of seconds and thirds, and your average over 20 stages, and you only won one. Like, you walked away with one with the best score and time. And that's pretty amazing, because I know a lot of people out there in the competitive world think that you got to come in and dominate a match, like overall, win every stage, blah, 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 to go through and take home a big check, which is an awesome thing in and of itself, to be able to walk away doing what you've been doing with 20 grand, 21,000 to be exact. Yep. But that's a big deal. And that just proves consistency, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I felt that I wasn't the fastest shooter there. Some of these guys, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 250. I don't get in some of the positions like some of these other, I don't want to call them small.
Ninjas.
But some of these guys are a lot quicker, and they can move from position to position faster. So I knew coming into the match that I had to kind of just continue to do what I've been doing, be consistent, try to hit as many targets as I can, and really not worry about the clock. There was a clock on every single stage, and sometimes that gets in people's minds and gets in people's heads. For me, I just wanted to be consistent. I just wanted to go through and get as many hits as possible, and then move to the next stage, regroup, figure out the next stage, figure out how to attack it appropriately, and then go from there. But if you looked at the times on the leaderboard, what you could see is I was actually the slowest in the entire match. I had, I think, 1,856 seconds. Everyone else was a lot faster than I were. They were in the 1,700-second range. There's even a few guys that were really fast in the 1,600-second range. Obviously, they didn't have as many hits as I did, so that might not matter as much. But that just kind of shows that the slow and consistent can win the race.
Yeah, slow and steady, man. It's the tortoise and the hare kind of deal. And you guys didn't have you guys didn't have the ultimate, like perfect weather conditions down there either. I mean, you guys had some challenges with that, with rain and things like that.
Exactly, yeah. So we showed up. So this was a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event. And so we show up Monday. The weather was perfect. It was like 75. It was probably a little hotter, 75, 80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. But we knew the weather was going to turn on us come Tuesday, Wednesday. And it pretty much rained, drizzled, all day Tuesday. It drizzled all day Wednesday. And we were just finishing up, and it really started to pour on us. And most of us had to shoot a stage or two stages when it was really raining, but we wanted to finish up and get out of there. So you got to concentrate on that kind of stuff. You got to keep your stuff dry, your equipment dry. You got to try to stay under the tents because they have some tents out there. So it was definitely a challenge.
What is that? What is rain and the first day you show up, it's perfect. The next day, it's drizzling rain. What does that do to ballistics and things like that? I mean, does it make you change your game and your strategy and how do you adjust to that?
Yeah, good question. When you have the cases that we run, some people run them really hot. And when I say that, they're pushing the upper limits of what that case is designed to do. Well, as soon as you introduce some sort of variables, let's call it dirt or dust or rain or humidity, heat, and even cold as well, it will change those ballistics a little bit because it's going to change how fast, how much pressure that case has. And so we did see some problems with people, their ammo is wet, their actions are wet, there's, all their stuff's wet, it's raining on them. And so when they're shooting, they're seeing a little more pressure. Obviously, when you introduce some hot weather or some wet environments, the pressure will go up, and you might have some hard bolt lifts. You might have some pressure problems that are associated with that. I tend to run all my stuff kind of like my shooting style. I tend to run it really conservative and really slow. Well, I do that for a reason. I do that so that no matter where I'm at in the country, I live up in Washington. I'm sighting everything in, and it's 18, 19 degrees. I go down to the southeast, and it's, literally 50 degrees hotter. So it's a lot different. I tend to run all my stuff really, really conservative, really low, just because I don't want those problems.
That's amazing. People think about wind, and they think about, all the different factors that can come into shooting long range one, but wet and high pressures and on cartridges. I mean, that's pretty crazy. It's getting in detail, but how many targets per stage on average were you shooting at?
Every stage is completely different. One of the good things about this match, and Tom did a really good course of fire, probably one of the best I've ever shot, is that every stage challenged you, and you had to think about how you wanted to attack and run every stage. Some stages, they have maybe one position but multiple targets. Some stages have multiple positions, multiple targets. And you really had to figure out, do I want to try to make it through the stage quickly to try to get all my shots, downrange, or do I want to take my time and make those shots a little bit more accurate? Most stages, I'd say, probably have between 3 and 5 targets per stage, and we were running all 105 seconds, so minute 35, or I guess minute 45, excuse me. And you had to really, bust your butt. If you were going to make it through every stage, you had to really go fast. I think I timed out on 12 stages, so it tells you how fast you really had to go. I only made time on 8 of the 12 stages.
Jeez. And so the hits are worth a lot of money. Without a no pun intended, but hits are important. So bottom line on that is what? You just got to know your gun. You got to know your gun and your ammo. You got to know what's going on with the atmospherics. Did you practice more or less for this match? I mean, you said the weather and then, everything was so much different at home. How do you really practice for something like that? Going 50 degrees difference in temperature, different altitudes. How do you practice for that?
Practice is something that you just have to make time for. I'm pretty fortunate. I own JC Still Targets, and so I have a business in the firearms industry. I'm always around it. I'm fortunate to always talk to shooters, and I also do a lot of training as well. So I'm kind of immersed in it. Well, that's actually a blessing for me because I'm always shooting. I'm always at the range. I was at the range this morning getting some practice in as well. And so, the more times you can get out there and get comfortable with it, practice it, and then after you have that core solid foundation of fundamentals and really what you're doing, then you're just kind of refreshing. And every time I shoot a match, I have my match book. I'll go and I'll review that match book. What things did I do well? What things did I not do well? And then I can take that back to the range, and I can kind of practice any of those, inefficiencies that I'm having in my game or, in the sport in general. Say, okay, I really need to work on weak side shooting because the last match it should have been a stage where I should have cleaned, or it should have been a stage I could have done better on, but because I hadn't practiced it, maybe I didn't. I'll go to the range that following week, and I'll hammer that out all day long until I get it perfect every time.
So, Jake, you're probably good enough. We're talking to Jake Vibert. He's the champ of the Armageddon Gear Cup that just went down. $21,000 he took home for shooting a match, which is totally awesome in America.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on. So the, my question was going to be for all the listeners. There's a lot of precision rifle shooters that reload their own ammo, and they're really good at it. Do you do that?
I do, yeah. I'm probably a little bit different than some people. I use brass cleaning services. They do all my brass prep for me. So it comes to me ready to go, ready to load. And then all I'm doing is I'm dumping powder and shooting a bullet over the top of it. So I use Varget powder, and I reload 31 grains of Varget powder, and then I put a Hornady A-tip on top of it, 20 thousandths off the lance. So my input on it is, even though it's very, very important because my powder is really important, it just, it definitely takes a team to kind of get it all right. And so I'm pretty lucky that way.
Now,
there are some really good ammos out there, though. So, like the Hornady match stuff is just really good quality stuff for a good price. It's going to be hard to beat that. So if you are a shooter and you don't reload, don't worry about it. Buy some Hornady match and just be done with it.
Yeah, and my next question was, as a reloader, do you change your loads based on where you're shooting or atmospherics or things that you can control, or do you pretty much go with the same grains of powder and the same bullet everywhere you go?
Yeah, I got the exact same, and I've run that in probably about 12 barrels now. So all my barrels are going to be benchmark barrels, 1 7.5 twist, and it really likes the 31 grain load for my 6 BRX. Now I do that because that's kind of a low node, and a lot of people are running that BRX or the Dasher up in the 32 grain mark, which is, we just talked about it with the rain and environment. It's at the higher node, but I don't mind running slow and consistent because I can take that particular ammo, I can take it all over the country, and I know it's going to perform well enough to win matches. I don't have to kind of dicker around with all that. I just load the same thing, and so far it's been pretty good for me.
That's awesome. Tell us more about your rifle and your optics and everything that you won $21,000 in cash with last week.
Yeah, it's a Almo Precision built Almo Precision rifles. They build all my rifles. They just do a great job. It's a 6mm BRX. I have an XLR NV. It's called the JV Heavy Filled Chassis. A US Optics B25 scope with a reticle that I helped design called the JVCR. And I already mentioned my benchmark barrels. I run 0 Delta mounts, just kind of one piece, really rigid mount that's been doing me well, and a Trigger Tech diamond trigger. And then a little bit about my reloading stuff. I have obviously my Hornady bullets I shoot quite a bit of, and Hodgkin Varget powder I shoot quite a bit of. So I mean, there's just a lot of people to mention. But one thing that I'm a big fan of is and this might be something for the the new shooters. After you find something you like, stick with it and use it and use it and use it until you know it very, very well. What we find is, you go to a match and there's some shooter has got some new toy he wants to play with, and then he doesn't do very well in the match, and now he's wondering why he's not doing very well. It's because you continually are trying new stuff and you're not getting comfortable with what is actually working. So I've been using all these products for a really long time. I believe in them, I trust in them, and I'm very comfortable with them. So for me, it just makes a lot of sense to stay with what has been working and what does work. And all these guys, whether you're an optics or a chassis or a barrel or a trigger, whatever you are, really they all make good stuff. And so I'm not necessarily saying you have to get X,
right,
Y, or Z to be good. You just got to get comfortable with what you're using.
What was the longest distance of target that you can remember in the Armageddon Gear Cup?
The AG Cup had a target, I believe it was at 1350, and it was one of our last stages of the day, and it was actually really raining hard when we were there. So that was one of the targets. So I guess that's right, just a mile away.
Yeah, that's a long way. Are you there still? We lose you? We may have lost Jake.
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So 1350. Now, as a shooter, right? You're on the range all the time. Do you ever stretch that out? How far can you go with this setup?
You know, you can go a long ways, and there's obviously all the stories of people shooting little stuff or medium, stuff a really long way. But we're starting to, at that distance, you're starting to get to the maximum effective zone of that particular round. Most of these rounds now are pretty darn small, and they're that way because they're really efficient.
Yes.
When you get to some of the bigger rounds and stretch them out to 1,500, 1,600, a mile, 2,000 yards, you're starting to talk about some bigger stuff like maybe a 6.5 PRC from Hornady. That's going to be something where you got maybe a 2,000-yard range, where your 6 millimeters might have a really good effective range in the 1,400 yard.
How many in the competitive field? We're going to wrap this up here in a second, but how many in the competitive field there at the Armageddon Gear Cup? How many different calibers do you think there were? I mean, a lot of people are settling in on some of the stuff like you're using, but how many different rounds out there are there?
So I believe everyone in the AG Cup was running a 6 millimeter, so that's kind of a little nugget of information.
Wow, that's interesting.
All 20 shooters were running 6 millimeter. There were ranges from the 6 BRA all the way up to the 6 Creedmoor and everything in between. There was 6 Dasher, 6 BRX, 6 GT. And so you have kind of the flavor of the month, right? There's always something new that someone's creating. But, again, figure out what works for you as a new shooter or experienced shooter. Stick with it and become good with it.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff, man. Jake, thanks for coming on the Rockcastle Gun Show. That was all sweet information, and congratulations, man. Huge payday for shooting some matches. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal, and congratulations, buddy.
I really appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, guys.
We look forward to having you back at the Rockcastle Shooting Center one of these days. We got the Bushnell Elite Sniper Challenge coming up. That should be a fun day. And then we got some other stuff coming up, so maybe you'll get back to Rock one day.
I'd love to.
Right on. We're talking to Jake Vibert. We're going to take a break. He's the Armageddon Gear Cup champion. We're going to go pay some sponsors here on ESPN Radio 102.7, the Rockcastle Gun Show, ESPNRadio1027.com.
Hey, it's Nick Noble with the Rockcastle Gun Show here. We're talking about Swagger bipods. Do you want just your average barrel rest, or do you want to shoot with some swagger? Introducing the Swagger bipods. They expand your shooting zone with Swagger, the all-terrain hunting bipod. After more than 100 years, finally shooters have a bipod with patented, flexible, hyper-extending, telescopic legs that give you the agility like never before. So get rid of stiff legs and get the bipod with infinite maneuverability. Swagger, the bipod that moves.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the Bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. 2006 Honda Ridgeline. Local trade comes with 4-wheel drive, good miles, leather interior, navigation and sunroof, chrome wheels, power options, and more for only $11,995. Hurry in because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the Bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
This is Tommy Thacker, and you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show here on ESPN Radio 102.7. And we're also up there 106.1 in E-Town, up there Fort Knox. and, of course, 104 The Score in Glasgow. And, hey, this is the Rockcastle Shooting Center. It's your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble, bringing guns and gear and all things competitive shooting and whatever to your airwaves every single Wednesday night, live from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But then don't forget our podcast. You can download. We're 136 episodes in. We have the biggest and the best names in the firearms industry on our airwaves each and every week. It was fun talking to Jake. He just won $21,000 in cash at the AG Cup, the Armageddon Gear Cup down in Georgia. Tom Fuller, who's a good friend of ours, who was with the Army Marksmanship Unit and was the sergeant major for that for a long time, and went out on his own after he left the Army. Started a really successful
kicking butt, man.
Yeah, Armageddon Gear. They make all kinds of accessories for the firearms competitive shooting world and for the military alike. They're making gear for
everything from slings to drag bags to to blow up pillows and stuff they use in PRS shooting and all that.
Yeah.
Check out Armageddon Gear. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, congratulations to Tom Fuller for really going out on a limb. Putting up $40,000 in cash for a match. $21,000 went to the winner, and then we had Shooting USA with the Scoutins there, filming the whole thing in a kind of a little bit of a rainy, mushy thing down there. But
think about it though. He timed out on 12 of 20 stages. He won one stage and walked away the champion with 21 grand.
That's right. Yeah, slow and consistent.
Consistency. Knowing that gun, man. Hitting those targets. That's important. And I think in any sport.
Smooth is slow, slow is fast. Yeah. So that's what they say. But anyway, it's really good to talk about that. Now we've got one of our favorite guys in the entire country.
Best dude ever. Yeah. Patriot Ordnance Factory, POF USA, straight out of Arizona. Frank DeSoma, what's going on, dude?
How you guys doing?
Man, we miss you, man. We haven't seen you in a couple months. What's going on down at Patriot Ordnance Factory?
Well, right now the weather in Phoenix is absolutely beautiful. We're not boiling in heat here. Today was a little cloudy today, but what's going on at the factory? Some Patriot magic.
Patriot magic.
Some new creations are being born because of freedom.
Freedom.
And I can't wait for SHOT Show to come to share with the industry and the consumers all the new products we have coming out. We have 3 new items we're bringing to the industry, and then derivatives of those items. So I think there'll be a lot of surprises on what we're going and where we're headed. So.
Well, Frank, you're amazing, and POF is amazing for so many different ways. And we've had you on the show before. One of the main reasons you've been on the show is because, not out of nowhere, but we host the Industry Choice Awards, where we get all these 30 evaluators to come in and test all these rifles, all these pistols, all these shotguns, ammunition, targets, you name it. And POF, Patriot Ordnance Factory, has come out on top time and time again against some of the bigger, larger companies that have submitted products with all kinds of different things. What you guys are doing down there and in your factory and your product development and your technologies are just incredible. So, how do you keep that thing going year after year? We can't wait for SHOT Show to see 3 new generations, and it'll be fun.
It's passion what drives us. We want to build the next best widget. We never stop. Come on, guys. You're in the cars or trucks or Jeeps or bikes or whatever. Do you guys ever get complacent with the same old shit, or do you always try to dress them up and make them a little better the next time? Hey, the next time I get one of those, I got to do it a little better. It's the same thing with firearms. What can we do to improve upon the product, make it leaner, meaner, and have more horsepower, just like being at the racetrack, right?
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing. It's just a different product we're working with. I'm not dealing with race cars. I'm dealing with, firearms. So what can we do to enhance the reliability, the accuracy, the performance? Hey, how can we make this thing small and light enough but still carry that big horsepower? And I think those philosophies and pushing for freedom, but the philosophies of putting those things and the passion, can-do attitude, and creating these widgets, that's what I believe has helped us for the last 3 years getting Rifle of the Year. It's almost embarrassing because it's 3 years in a row, back to back to back. You know, the only teams I know that did that was Michael Jordan when he was playing with the Chicago Bulls at that time. You know, they had a wonderful team winning back to back to back. To me, the Industry Choice Awards is just that type of award for our industry. It's awarded by peers, not by how much money you advertise with a marketing company, how many you do this. It's purely on the merits of the widget itself. No influence by the individual or the company. Has to be by the merit of what the evaluators, like you said, 30 of them. So for me, it's a great indication. Are we going the right way? Are we doing the right things? Because there's a multitude of people from all walks, from either competitor shooters, armors, law enforcement, military. Just it could be a salesman, a person works in distribution or works at a counter at a store. You know, from the variety of people that, you know, I understand that looks at these products and evaluates them. And you're right, there's a bunch of big companies. So having a smaller company that anyone in America can start a business because of freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability, if you're creative and you're passionate, if you put passion into something, in most cases, I believe you'll succeed. Because if it's a product that you do and not a service, and even with service, you're going to succeed really good. If you give someone really good service, there's no question they're coming back for another opportunity.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's a win-win situation when you're passionate and people can see it, and your product shows it. So, and it's something to be a point of pride and be proud of. The team at Patriot Ordnance Factory, you know, they're my family. Not just my first family, but, you know, my work family. You know, you're there, you spend as much time with them as you do with your normal family. So it's awesome to see a company like us mature from an idea starting out of a garage and now having built a factory from the ground up, and see a lot of the same faces that are still there today that were there when I started.
When you opened
like
the doors.
My son.
Yeah.
When we're in the garage, you know, one of our engineers, Brandon, he would come to our house, you know, engineer on the dining room table with a laptop working with me, and next thing we know is, hey, take your stuff off the table, we're going to eat dinner.
And when did POF, when Patriot Ordnance Factory, when were you guys founded? When were you working on that kitchen table and in your garage? What year was that?
In 2002, we formed a corporation in Arizona. It's an Arizona corporation that was founded in 2002. In 2004, we started selling the first commercially purchased piston-driven ARs on the market, period. We showed our product in 2004 at SHOT Show, and later that year we were selling to the market. HK happened to show their thing, and they're a known commodity. I'm a nobody. But they never brought it to the market, and they were always pushing to the military. Right. So I would love to be selling to the military at the levels they do, but I wouldn't exist, because if we continued to just push to them and not the commercial market, we wouldn't be here. So I think we followed the right path, and as we grow bigger and bigger, you know, I look forward to 2020's Industry Choice Award. I really do, because I believe we have contenders for Rifle of the Year. There's not even a question in my mind.
That's awesome.
We have a contender. If we get beat, someone's going to have to really be swinging. I'm telling you that much, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So last year, 2019, this year, this summer, you guys won the Rifle of the Year through the Industry Choice Awards, the Revolution DI 308. Truly a remarkable machine because of many things. But if anybody hasn't checked out this gun, this is a 308, which is normally an AR-10 platform, but you guys engineered the lower receiver of an AR-15 to accept the 308 and cut some serious weight and didn't give away any bit of drivability of the rifle and durability, and it's a remarkable machine.
It doesn't make sense, does it? So
no, it doesn't.
But you have an AR-15 that shoots 308. There's just no way it can happen.
But it does.
You're correct. Because a lot of passionate people working together as one team with a goal and a passion to achieve that game. That goal, making the unobtainable obtainable. You mean to tell me I can have a battle rifle cartridge in a little AR-15 carbine? I can have that lightweight machine that's fast, nimble, and quick and accurate, that has the punch and horsepower of a battle rifle cartridge? Game on. I want that. Yeah, I want that personally. What do you think? I was excited. And guys, I can tell you, there was a whole lot of failure that got us here. And learning from those failures and finding those weak links and then maturing them through engineering is what made us achieve what we have here. And I can't complain for 3 years in a row from the 2 years back-to-back with the Piston and then the DI this year. We're pretty blessed and fortunate as a young company building high-end quality products. And we're uniquely different. It's no different looking at a street rod that's totally have 21st century technology, suspension, brake systems, transmissions, and horsepower, fuel injected and everything with electronics in it, but you got the cool-looking old-school look, right?
Absolutely. Frank, I got a question for you. When starting in your garage and your kitchen table in 2002, what was the point in which you had that moment where we're on to something great here? Was there any one?
The moment that I said we were going to do something was the moment my son and I were in the garage, like guys that are into firearms. We were rebuilding. I bought some parts kit from a company called Tapco, which does different things. But then decades ago, almost 2 decades ago, they were into selling surplus stuff. And I had a FAL parts kit. And my son and I were going to rebuild it, whatever, and go shoot with our buddies. Well, with my friends, but he always went shoot with me and we did stuff together. So we're out there working on it. I'm looking at this piston system going, well, my God, this is what the AR-15 needs. I mean, everyone, America's rifle, everyone likes it, but, it kind of does something. But it's funny, that's what brought us into the market, having something unique. And then it's kind of full circle because we are doing a lot of DI guns, direct impingement, the original design, but we are not doing it the original way. The enhancements we've done and learned about from almost 2 decades of manufacturing and engineering, the stuff we put enhancements into the DI versions. And for 2019, the Revolution, a 6.8-pound, 16.5-inch carbine that moves and manipulates and is quick and accurate as an AR-15, shooting 223, delivers the horsepower of a 308 7.62x51 cartridge, the same cartridge used in the battle rifles. So we've achieved something superior. And look, I mean, I have friends in the industry. We're all in the industry together. We're all one big family, and we're at the end of the day, we're all on Team America, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
I believe in constitutional rights, but also in being that, we can still be competitors, right?
Absolutely.
I don't have to be an enemy with anyone. I could be a friendly competitor. What I believe is we've taken a leap way ahead of the competition. There is nothing in the entire world that has achieved what we offer right now on the market. I don't care what design you look at. We are at the weights with some of our guns as what subguns are. And you're talking carbines. So you're going to see some stuff that's going to be quite interesting where we're going.
Can't
the
wait.
Revolution was the first opening of that doorway. The Revolution's the one that achieved that. It was revolutionary in what we engineered and achieved. We could have failed, guys. We could have never broke it, but we managed to somehow break the code and get in, and it works.
Well, and you actually won other awards as well. It wasn't just the Industry Choice Awards, but there was other people.
Yeah, we've won the NRA Golden Bullseye Award too. But I was shocked with that because I do know, and I'll even say it on there, there's a lot of politics there, right?
Right, absolutely.
But that's why I enjoy the Industry Choice Awards. I enjoy it because it's the merit of the product, not how big or small your company is, not how much you provide to political groups or to, marketing or whatever. The product is reviewed and gone through, not just looked at and gone through by detail. It's actually used and shot and function checked also. So what better way of testing the gun than reviewing it one day, going through categories of questions, and then actually going out and shooting it and seeing how it handles and manipulates and how accurate it is or whatever. That's where the gun really shines, is using it. It's a tool. So if I can make a tool that's lightweight, that's accurate, that's easy to manipulate and handle, it's quick, fast, accurate, but delivers, battle rifle cartridge horsepower, I can go after every big North American game, couldn't I? Bear, moose, elk, whatever, deer.
You got it.
That's the nice part of it.
Well, that is nice, and that's the reason we love having you on, and the reason we love you dearly. You've been up to the Rock so many times, and Industry Choice Awards is something, and you have literally put incredible products. After these 30 evaluators get through shooting all the rifles, it becomes very clear what the best rifle is there, and we're talking, like we said, all the big manufacturers put in there, and you have time and time again put the best product out there, and you may be a little bit embarrassed about winning it 3 years in a row, but I wouldn't be. I'd be, and I know you are proud, but you guys continue to do. How can these folks find out more about you? Patriots Order Factory website and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's pof-usa.com. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. And, you'll see a lot more social media getting pushed. I'm just trying to get the word out there. We're still a young company. I don't have the historical backgrounds like a Colt or, Remington. Remington's been around, guys. There's Americana, too. And I hate seeing it going through the troubles it has been, but that company's produced a widget every year since 1813. It's the oldest U.S. manufacturer in the United States of America. I don't ever want to see a Remington go away. And I own a competing product in a different company, and you're hearing me state that because I care about my country. I care about Americans. I care about American manufacturing, and I got pride in that, and I don't ever want to see that go away. President Trump is correct. Get manufacturing growing. A strong nation, a strong and healthy nation is pivotal that we manufacture our products.
Huge.
I'm not saying every single thing has to be done here, but we have a lot of people, and this country deserves more than a bunch of people that know how to run their iPhone on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
You got to be able to build those things too. You got to create, an intranet. You got to create satellites. You got to create. It takes all this satellites, rockets, and technologies to make stuff happening.
Yeah.
You can't live in the Matrix world without all the engineers and people of trades with crafts that create things. I mean, right now, there's another great show going on, the SEMA show, right now in Vegas. It's the ultimate car show in the world. I mean, and there's a bunch of really cool creations that's there. And I'm talking about firearms, huh? Well, it's the same thing when the SHOT show opens up in January for our industry, the firearms industry. It's the same type of show. If you want to see the best of the best from all around the world, it's there.
That's right. Come check it out, and come check out POF.
And a bunch of new products, it sounds like. We can't wait to get there and see it, buddy.
Well, I can't wait to submit some new products, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
Be interesting to see what transpires.
Frank,
let the product speak for itself.
Amen, right, brother. And your product certainly does speak for itself. Patriots Order Factory founder Frank DeSoma on the line with it. Frank, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight again. And you are a true American hero, and I just love your passion, and it's something that it just gets me fired up. So thank you for being on the show.
Same to you guys. Thank you for inviting us on, and God bless America. Take care,
God bless
guys.
America.
Safe.
We're going to go take a break, pay some sponsors. We'll be right back on the Rockcastle Gun Show, ESPN Radio 1027.com.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Hey, Bowling Green, Steve Russell here with Consignment World, and I'm wanting to let the ESPN listener family know that Consignment World wants your business. We also want you to know that we're not a typical consignment store. I think Consignment World is more of an ESPN kind of store, and by that I mean we cover a lot of ground just like ESPN does. First of all, we're not a clothing store. Our focus is on good, clean, used furniture, decorating accessories, collectibles, primitives, tools, even sporting goods. In fact, at the time I'm making this radio spot, I'm just finishing up a liquidation of a large fishing lure collection and also liquidating a lot of nice turkey calls and Turkey Federation decor from a world-renowned turkey caller. At Consignment World, we do estate liquidations as well, and that means we never know what's going to come in the door, making variety our feature. Hey, if you haven't visited with us before, we want your business. We're Bowling Green's best kept secret and hardest place to find. We're at 824 Broadway next to J.C. Kirby, 781-0009. Come see us.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J Long Range Attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J Long Range Attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few weaknesses whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J Long Range Attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
Gun Style, you're listening to ESPN, the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Yeah, welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show, ESPN Radio 1027, 106.1 in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and 104 The Score in Glasgow, and ESPNKY.com or ESPNRadio1027.com, and live stream it every Thursday night, 6, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And look for us on wherever you get your podcasts. Look at the Rockcastle Gun Show. We're 137 deep. Best names, biggest products, most interesting topics in the world of firearms. Great show tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, talking to Frank DeSoma is one of the most passionate, patriotic guys with Peyton's Ordnance Factory that I've ever. I mean, having him on the show is just incredible. And yeah, I just get fired up when I talk to Frank.
Guys should run for president.
He would be. He is a true American
1776. I think it's 1776 Freedom Way is his address at Patriot Ordnance Factory. Something like that. It's awesome. He made that.
Just line it all up. And then it was also great to have Jake on, the winner of the AG Cup. You know, $21,000 in cash. Tom Fuller's Armageddon Cup down there, precision rifle match. That was really cool. And now we've got another great friend of Rockcastle Shooting Center. Actually, the match director for the very first Rockcastle Pro Am 3-Gun Championships, and it was great. And this guy's been around competitive shooting since the early on in 3-Gun. I mean, he's one of the original guys in 3-Gun, and has been a top-rated competitive shooter, all that. Now he's doing a bunch of writing and cool stuff and African safaris. Mr. Jeff Cramblett, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. Well. Long time no see. What up, dude?
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, and I know what you mean about Frank. I mean, Frank was born in the wrong century. He should have been born about 1776.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd have been rocking and rolling back then.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That guy just is so passionate, it's contagious, you know, when he starts talking about freedom and America and everything. It's really cool.
It's a very patriotic
He's got energy
show.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, patriotic show because Jake Vibert won $21,000 shooting the AG Cup precision rifle match down there. Isn't that incredible?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's America. And then you get Frank on, and now we got you, who you're back in America. You've been traveling a lot, writing about guns, shooting matches. You do it all. Tell us a little bit about where you just came from. I think you were way down south.
Yeah, I got invited. Some friends of mine had one spot left on a safari, and actually competitive shooters. T.J. Turner from down in Birmingham, and said they had another spot left, so invited me. So I jumped in with them. They found a really good deal on going on a safari in South Africa. So I went and spent a week in South Africa doing a lot of hunting, and it was a fantastic trip. And I'd strongly recommend Marupa for safaris to anybody to go get some game. I bagged a really nice springbuck, a great big wildebeest, a nice warthog, and a really fantastic gemsbucks while I was over there.
What were you doing? So I know you were probably writing a story about your trip and everything, and probably writing a story about the firearms you're using and the ammo and things like that. Let's go through that a little bit. What kind of guns and gear did you take on an African safari to kill all those game?
Actually, funny story there. They got a couple different locations so that they hunt over there, the property they own, and the first inclination was it was going to be in some property that was going to be fairly close, all stalking, close-range shots. So I took my lever-action 45-70 that I had built up, for an article for Guns America, and carried it over there, and I put on a Night Force NX 1-8, their new little 30-millimeter tube 1-8, and I just got finished doing an article that just got released here shortly a couple weeks ago, on that NX 1-8, and that is a fantastic little scope. But we got over there, and due to some just circumstances, we ended up going to their other property where it's a lot more wide-open plains, and they really put me, the 45-70, the Hornady ammunition, and the NX-8 to the test.
I can imagine.
But I can't think of a better guy to be up for that test than Jeff Cramblett. So you had obviously found some great success with that.
Oh yeah. They were giving me a hard time about that little gun to start with, and then they said, "How far are you good for with that?" And I said, "I'm comfortable 250, somewhere in there." But we rolled on and everything, and the first wildebeest, we got set up on everything, and I asked him what the range was, and it was 291. So right off the bat, we started stretching, and the longest shot I ended up taking was on the springbuck at 360 yards with a 45-70 throwing a 250 grain Hornady bullet at it.
It's a Lever Revolution or something?
Yep, exactly. The Lever Revolution ammo. And I've got but like you said, I am doing an article. Actually, it's a 3-part series on the trip to Africa, so that everybody can get a gist of the preparations you need to take, the gear selection, the paperwork that you have to do, actually doing the hunt, because that was way more affordable than most people would ever imagine, and than I imagined it would be. Or at least it was hunting with these guys. And the animals were fantastic. It wasn't like a cull hunt or anything, shooting a bunch of trash. I mean, they were fantastic animals and great people and great accommodations. So there'll be a 3-part series coming out on that hunt.
On which media? Is that Guns America?
Yeah, it's going to be on Guns America or on Hunt 365. I'm not sure which of the two sites they're actually going to put it out on. It'll probably be on the Hunt 365 site, which is Guns America's hunting side.
Well, Jeff, it's really cool. I mean, with your knowledge of competitive shooting, just guns in general, and everything, to see you really jumping into the writing side of it, and so you can share with all the fans out there. And how did you kind of jump into that? And you've done maybe a little bit of that here and there in the past, but you've really put a big push on that because you've got a real day job as well. But this has been a nice transition for you, it looks like.
Oh, it's really been great, and it actually came about due to the competition shooting. And one of yours and my friends, they're good old Clay, was
Clay
used to come up there and shoot at Rockcastle and everything. He was writing for Guns America, and the editor wanted him to write some stuff on shotguns, and he said, "Man, I don't know anything about shotguns, but I know somebody that does," and did the introductions and got me started writing for him. So
that's great.
It just snowballed from there. So, it's been a good time.
And you've been spending a lot of time on sporting clays as well. I know that you and David Power runs Cave Mountain Clays at Rockcastle Shooting Center. Just went up and took the level 1 instructor course, and so now you're a level 1 instructor in sporting clays. And I know that you've always dabbled in sporting clays for a long time, and really good competitor there. That's been a lot of fun as well.
Oh, it's been tremendous. And I just got back from shooting the Sporting Clays Nationals about a week ago. Yeah, 1 week ago. I shot the Nationals out in San Antonio, which is a absolutely tremendous facility they have out there. I mean, I think there was somewhere around 2,500 competitors, but I ended up tying for first in the 5-stand in my class, B class, and then coming in third in B class in the main event. So I'll be punching up to A and working my way up from there. It all just comes down to how much vacation time you got to dabble here and shoot competitions and go on a safari, and that's my only limiting factor is available time. But
isn't it everybody?
It was good. It was good getting certified to be an instructor because, I'd always liked helping, and I've, been down there to see Zach down in Savannah and actually, helped instruct with some junior, play shooters down there. So it's nice to get a little formal education on doing the instruction as well.
Absolutely. Now, have you retired from 3-gun because you were such an avid 3-gun shooter and one of the top ones around for a long, long time? Are you still dabbling in 3-gun at all?
I'm dabbling, and I'm shooting local USPSA some and things like that. It's just the matter of traveling off to go shoot some of the bigger matches. It just takes so much time that with the safaris and some training gigs that I've had have actually burned up a lot of my vacation time. Sure. So I've had to cut back on the amount of big 3-gun matches just due to the amount of time it takes to travel and go to them. But I'm actually signed back up. I got conned into signing back up for Mammoth again this coming year, so I got to go back and make a reappearance at the Mammoth Sniper Challenge.
Right on. Well, Frank DeSoma went long, man, so we're going to have to cut you short and bring you back on another time. But everybody go check out Jeff's articles on Guns America or Hunt365.com. I look forward to reading all about the Africa trip, 3-part series there. That's going to be fun. And you're always doing great testing and work on guns. I read them all the time, and you get to shoot a lot, and that's cool. It's America, man.
Yep. Appreciate it so much for having me. And, just give me a shout back. We'll jump back in and catch up on everything else going on.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. You're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place, right here on the Rockcastle Gun Show, ESPN Radio 1027.com.